Welcome everybody to this week's episode of Ant on Music, and I am your humble host Ant. And this week we're going to take a look at one of my favorite bands from the 70s that's still going today in its own various form, I guess you could say. And it's Yes, one of the most positive bands to ever come out of rock and roll. Very progressive band, obviously, and we're going to take a look at their box set that they have for Fragile, and we're going to take a look at not one but two Swedish progressive rock bands that you may or may not have heard of, and something I surprisingly picked up on clearance when I went out to run errands this week for my missus. So before we get into all that, as always, I want to thank you for stopping by, checking out my channel. I appreciate the feedback. And if you would be very kind, please, 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 please click that subscribe button. Want to see this, see this channel continue to grow, and want to keep making these videos. And it's nice to get the positive feedback from everybody. So this way that drives me on to do more. So we're going to do things a little differently, all right, this week. Instead of, saving the box set for the end, I'm going to do the box set first. We're going to take a look at the box set first. And it's kind of funny because it's, this is one of you can't say Yes's masterwork because there have been several masterworks by Yes. This was probably one of the earlier ones, or definitely one of the earlier ones. And what they did was, they took, I'll show you the hype sticker first. So this is considered the definitive version of the 1971 Yes classic, Yes. And there is the hype sticker, all right? And, this is a pretty cool, collection here. This is, it's pretty much album size. It's a hardback book. I'll show you the back of that. Aside from the hype sticker, they have this sheet on the back under the shrink wrap, which gives you, basically another clipped look at the artwork as well as the track listing for every disc that's in here. And, what they did with this, which is pretty cool, they have 5 discs. So you have 4 CDs and 1 Blu-ray Atmos disc as well, which is pretty cool if you have that type of setup. I only have like a 7-speaker system. Does a pretty good job, of handling the, the way it pans there, there and back. But the Atmos system is something I've yet to invest in, and kind of makes sense why the Atmos is on here. Why? Because Steven Wilson is involved. Yes. Several years ago, Steven Wilson went back and he has become kind of like the keeper of the flame for, progressive rock and classic rock. He's done, remixes for everyone from King Crimson to Chicago. If you're not a big prog fan, but, you want to hear a really great mix and you like Chicago, check out his version of Chicago too. It's mind-blowing. It really sounds fantastic. But anyhow, getting back to this. So this is a very cool set, on here, in addition to the regular album, which they have on vinyl as well. And, so that, I took it out already. So the vinyl itself, it's basic black. It's got the classic Atlantic labels, and it is heavy duty. It's 180 gram. They also included this booklet, right, with additional artwork as well as, info on the album itself. And the recording container, and this is, one of the classic lineups of Yes. You've got Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, Howe, and let's see, who am I forgetting? Oh, Chris Squire. How can I forget Chris Squire? One of the best bass players to ever pick up a Rickenbacker. So we'll take a quick look at this. So you see the boys in the band right there all the way back in 71 when everyone was alive and young and healthy. And take a couple of pictures, looks at the pics from within. It's a very cool book, definitely something to look back at in time and see, where they were at this point in time, over 50 years ago, if you could believe it. And here they are playing live. As far as the music is concerned, all right, You've got the original album, okay, on vinyl, which is great. Then you have it, you have it remastered. All right. The track listing on the original was Roundabout, Cans and Brams, We Have Heaven, South Side of the Sky, 5% for Nothing, Long Distance Runaround, The Fish, Chandeliera Premateris, which is the bass solo from Chris Squire, who, how can I forget? Mood for a Day, which is Steve Howe's piece, and Heart of the Sunrise. Then you have on disc 2, you have the Steven Wilson 2024 remix and instrumentals. So you have the original album, then you have instrumental mixes for Roundabout, We Have Heaven, South Side of the Sky, Long Distance Runaround, The Fish, Heart of the Sunrise, and We Have Heaven. Disc 3, this is where you get your money's worth on this, is you get the rarities, all right? Stuff that, you may not have heard before, or if you did, it's been years. Roundabout, the US single edit, same for Long Distance Runaround. You get the Steven Wilson mix of All Fighters Pass, which is a track that wasn't on the album, obviously. South Side of the Sky, you get an early take. Roundabout, you get a rehearsal take. Mood for Another Day, which is a variation. We Have Heaven, the full version, mixed by Steve Wilson. South Side of the Sky, early version, mixed by Steve Wilson. Long Distance Runaround, Steve Wilson's edit. Heart of the Sunrise, edited by Wilson. America, which is a great track. Roundabout, the early rough mix. And We Have Heaven, a cappella Steven Wilson mix, which is outstanding. Then disc 4, more rarities and live stuff. Okay, and you have 5% for Nothing, alternative version, Heart of the Sunrise, alternative version, Long Distance Runaround, and The Fish, alternative version. The Dean, another unreleased track. America, Long Distance Runaround live with The Fish, and Perpetual Change, and Yours Is No Disgrace, also live. And there's a lot of unreleased stuff on this. It is a fantastic collection. Came out a few weeks back. It was one of those things where it's like, I have the Steven Wilson box set of all the albums when he remixed the 5 albums that he remixed for them. And for me, the big take on this was 2 things. One was that it had a lot of unreleased stuff. I have quite a bit of Yes stuff in my collection, but I didn't have some of these unreleased tracks, so I had to get it. That and got such a goddamn good deal on it, I couldn't resist. So I picked that up, and really thrilled to have that in my collection. It's really great listening, especially on headphones. So yes, Fragile, new box set, lots of unreleased stuff, very cool. So now let's get into some funky stuff, all right? Let's get into some modern prog, heavy on the part. So, a couple of bands from Sweden. I got 2 albums from one and one from another, all right? So I'll show you the hype sticker for the first one. Sony Music has done a great job of teaming with Inside Out and picking up some more current prog bands and re-releasing their catalogs in whole or in part. One of the ones that they've been doing a pretty extensive job with is the Flower Kings. All right, main man of the Flower Kings, Roine Stolt, who I absolutely adore, fantastic guitarists, songwriters, work with John Anderson on the Invention of Knowledge under the Stolt-Anderson or Anderson-Stolt name. Don't screw those up. So obviously John Anderson, being the elder statesman, gets the honor of having his name first, and also comes that way alphabetically. So you have Anderson Stoltz, Invention and Knowledge. Check that one out, really good. So you go from that. John Anderson worked with Roine Stolt. Roine Stolt was in Transatlantic, right? Transatlantic is Mike Portnoy of Dream Theater. Neil, can't remember his name. Neil from Spock's Beard. Okay, and Pete Trewavas from one of my favorite bands of all time, Marillion. All right, and so you have them. All right, and when they tour, they bring out the main man from this next band. All right, and that is Pain of Salvation's Daniel Gildenlow, and Inside Out does this great job. They've put out 2 that I've been able to find. This one is B. Pretty much everything they do is concept albums, all right? And you either dig it or you don't. What I loved so much about this, and we'll take a look at the packaging and we'll talk about it. So, pretty plain front cover. Back, it shows you the all the titles of the tunes on there, and it is a beautiful gatefold, all right? In addition to the gatefold, you have this insert that has info on what you're digging, all right? And cool thing is that they do, Sony Inside Out, is on top of the album, they give you the album on disc. Now, I already owned this on disc to begin with, but, have another copy right there. And they really did a beautiful job with the vinyl on these, okay? Check these out, right? That is a beautiful lilac colored vinyl album. And it's 2 slabs of vinyl, heavyweight stuff, very nice, very, very proper sounding. And one of the things that got me to fall in love with this band was one track off of this album. The tracks on here are basically, in Latin. And the one that got me is track 8, Vocari Dei, all right? What they did was they set up an answering machine. Yes, an old school answering machine. Remember those? You got to realize this album is originally from 2004. So this is, 20th anniversary of this one, okay? And they set up this voicemail system, and they told fans, hey, we want you to leave messages here as if you were speaking to God himself. What would you ask him? And one of the things that really got me was this was, post 9/11, and somebody actually talked about the Twin Towers, which, being a New Yorker, is something that's very near and dear to my heart. And other than that, the music is very moving. If you're familiar with them, you know this album. If you're not, you may want to give it a spin. They've also been part of Eurovision, the Eurovision Song Contest. I believe it was with one of the songs from either Road Salt 1 or Road Salt 2. But this is Pain of Salvation's B. I'm not going to go through the tracks just because, like I said, it's in Latin. Who the hell wants to hear me try and fumble through Latin, with the exception of that one. Another big standout track, though, I do want to mention is, where is it? It is track 9, Diffidentia. All right, that's there as well. We're going to take a look at another one of their albums, and that is a live acoustic album that they put out. I love acoustic music. Anytime you can take something that is, massively produced or something like that, if you can bring it down to its bare bones and make it, beautiful and listenable, count me in. And this is 12/5. All right, there's the hype sticker on that one. Once again, Pain of Salvation, Inside Out. They have quite a catalog. I think they have like 13 or 14 albums out. I have, almost all but 1 or 2 on CD. And once again, we'll take a look at the packaging here. We've got, front cover, kind of looks like, old school film. Back with the track listings. Gatefold sleeve right there with all the instrumentation that was used to make this beautiful thing, and the albums. And before we get to the albums, once again, Sony did a great job when they teamed with Inside Out. Bonus CD, everything that you'd ever want on there is there. Can't ask for more than that. Got an insert, some photos, some lyrics and liner notes there, so very, very cool stuff. And with this they also did another great job with the vinyl. Also beautiful brick red vinyl. How cool is that? Is that gorgeous or what? So on this you have, they have brick red vinyl. Why? Because they have Brickworks part 1 through 4, and then Brickworks part 5 through 10, which open and close the album. And in between you have Winning a War, Reconciliation, Dryad of the Woods, Oblivion Ocean, Undertow, and Chainsling. And no, Undertow is not a cover of the Tool song. So you have that. It's very, very cool to listen to this, the acoustic versions. of these songs, you know, broken down and stripped back to what they are on this. It's great to have the CD too, because you can, you know, pop that along in a CD player if you still have one in your car, or you have an old CD Walkman. So next up, all right, before we take a complete left turn, all right, another Swedish band, all right, and these guys are currently, it seems like they're reissuing a couple of their albums. Always love these guys. You know, so they're from Sweden. Counterparts to Pain and Salvation, a bit different. These guys come across as, you know, in my estimation, kind of like Zappa-esque prog, very 70s prog sounding as well. Kind of oddball lyrics here and there when you deal with them. And I'm talking about the band Beardfish, right? Weird name, right? Beardfish. So there's the hype sticker for this one. And if that looks like Bob Dylan, you're not going nuts. That's sketched to look like Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan is mentioned in one of the songs. So take a look at the whole album cover there, and then we'll take a look at the gate as well. All right. And this is also Inside Out music label. And with this, they do have this lovely trifold of the entire album cover, front, back, inside, and out, so you get a proper view of what the artist was doing with the painting for it. And inside, if you turn it around, you've got your typical lyrics and liner notes. All right, and you know, they've been around a while. Beardfish. Rikard Slobom, the genius behind this band, he has joined up with Big Train, right? He's been with them for their, I think, the past 2 albums, maybe more. But, you know, as far as the vinyl goes, basic black, but the labels are cool because, you know, they put, you know, parts of the album cover on there for you to look at as it spins. And, you know, this album is called Destined Solitaire. Probably should have given you that because it's nowhere to be found except on the spine. And, you know, this is a pretty neat album. I love Beardfish, you know, and it's on 140 gram vinyl. If you're a fan of theirs, you realize they have a lot of their songs, they mention sleeping in them. So on this, you have Awaken the Sleeping, then you have the title track, Until You Comply, Entropy. In Real Life, there is no algebra, if that was only true. Where the Rain Comes In, At Home Watching Movies, Coup de Grace, Abigail's Questions, In an Infinite Universe, and The Stuff That Dreams Are Made Of. Once again, sleeping, dreaming. And, you know, aside from this album, they have several others. Sleeping in Traffic. They have The Void, which is up behind me here, all the way in the corner. I'll slide Roger over a little bit. So The Void, great album. And Mammoth, bunch of other ones. And like I said, they are, you know, Swedish prog band. They do sing in English, just like Pain and Salvation. And, you know, they're pretty cool. If you dig 70s style prog, you know, updated for, you know, the current situation we're living in, this is great. And this is the 15th anniversary of this album. Really thrilled to have it on vinyl. And it's the first time it's been put on vinyl. So that's outstanding. So now, after all that, let's take a complete left turn, all right? So, you know, Mrs. sent me out to do some errand running, you know, a couple of things. My wife works her ass off. And, you know, I try to help out where I can. And one of the things she did, she sent me on a Target run. So went on a Target run. Target run and done. Woohoo! All right, went into Target and ended up calling my brother-in-law Joe about this one because he is a huge Green Day fan. All right. I got to see Green Day but once, along with Weezer. They dual headlined one of Z100, which is a radio station here in New York. That I don't even think they're under the same format though. And they had what they call their annual Jingle Ball Christmas concert. Got to see Aerosmith there one time too. You know, the lineup's always mixed, a lot of pop stuff. And Green Day was on there, and they were out in tour of Dookie. So their first big hit album that they put out, and they were there, and so was Weezer, and it was very cool. But while I was in Target, I wandered by the record section because, oh, God forbid, if there's a record maybe to be found somewhere, that I would leave it in place. But I couldn't believe this, and I called my brother-in-law Joe and told him. He was like, "What?" when he called me back. Picked up the latest Green Day album. All right, and if you look really close, I got a damn good deal on that. So I could not resist the pop punkers themselves, Green Day, with their latest album, Saviors. And this one comes on a clear vinyl. All right, the one that they put out initially, all right, elsewhere through indie record carriers, was pink. It matched the font, matched the color of the font on this album. And the other cool thing was, now this is under $8. How can you go wrong? All right, even if I like 2 songs, it's worth it. Aside from the clear vinyl, it comes with this, giant fold out. And I'm going to cap this water because I know I'm going to make a mess when I go to unfold this. Pardon me, throat gets dry. It's a long story. One day I'll tell you about it. So with this, you have all your lyrics and liner notes on this giant fold out, which if you turn it around and flip it around, I'm gonna have to back up, you get this humongous poster of the boys in Green Day just chilling. So, and this is their latest album. As usual, they're Green Day. They have their hits that they get from each album. And the track listing, on the back, it's listed there. You've got The American Dream Is Killing Me, Look Ma, No Brains, Bobby Sox, One-Eyed Bastard, Dilemma, 1981, Goodnight Adeline, Coma City, Corvette, Summer, Susie Chapstick, Strange Days Are Here to Stay, Living in the 20s, Father to a Son, Saviors, and Fancy Sauce. So, hey, for $8, can't beat it, right? Add that into the collection, go along with my other Green Day albums that I have, and to have it on clear vinyl is pretty neat. So that is everything that I have to show for you this week. A lot of prog, one punk album, and pop punk, let's be realistic. So that's everything that I have for you. As I always say, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for spending your valuable time with me. I really, really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Click that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free. Awesome, right? Get some old man jibber jabbering about music once a week. Very cool. And share the video, click like, leave a comment. So that's everything this week. Everything from Yes Boxset to Green Day. Couldn't get more different there. And some colored vinyl thrown in for good measure. So till next week, peace, one love, music. I'm out.